Someone the other day asked me about the difference between stuggetoi and miseo. And it may seem to be a minor difference between being hated and being hateful, unless, of course, they're hating you. In Titus 3:3, we have these lists of descriptions of who we are apart from Christ. And you get to the end and you have these two phrases, this stuggetoi and then the participle from miseo. And the issue is, what do they mean in conjunction with each other? And is there even a difference? Well, there's a couple of problems here. One is stuggetoi, as you can see, only occurs one place. It's a hapax in the New Testament. And so we don't have a whole lot to go with. The other thing is that this word can be both active and passive. Check out my commentary for a discussion of this. But if it's active, it means that we hated others. And if it's a passive sense, it means that we were hated. The actual question came in is, where does the being hated come from? So there's two ways to translate this. You can do what the CSB does and say they are hateful and then detesting one another. See the allelus. But what's the problem with doing that? Well, they're pretty much saying the same thing, aren't they? Being hateful and detesting other people. What's the difference? Paul may just be piling up descriptions to make his point, but I think, and it's only by a very small margin, that allelus may be the key to this. It certainly means they are hating one another, and if this allelus in essence goes with both stuggetoi and misuntis, then you have a one another connected to both ideas. And so the idea would be that they were being hated by one another, and they were, in fact, hating one another. So not only were we hated by others, but we hated others as well. Now, like I say, it's 6 of one and a half of a dozen of the other, but I think the presence of allelus may suggest that this is more a passive sense, and the NIV got it right here, that we were hated by others, and we, in fact, hated others. It's quite a picture of life apart from the work of Christ in our lives, isn't it? I still remember teaching a class on Romans years ago when I was teaching university, and I went through the description in Romans 3 about who we are apart from Christ, and an international student came up to me afterwards and asked if that's what I really thought of her. And I didn't quite pick up what she was asking. I really wish I had. But the point is that when you look at these descriptions, you go, wow, really, is this what we think of other people? That this is really how bad we are apart from Christ? And the answer, of course, is that when you compare it to the righteousness of Christ, then yes, we were foolish, we were disobedient, we were deceived, we were enslaved, we did live in malice and envy, that we hated one another, and in turn we were hated by others. Are there good people out there in the world? Of course there are. But compared to the goodness of Christ, no, there isn't. At least that is the conclusion these kinds of passages would drive us to. But anyway, an interesting little point that a noun can be both active and passive, that they hated one another or they were hated.